Hey everyone, welcome back to A Life of KG. Today this episode is sponsored by KG Professional, beauty training provider that specialises in eyelash extensions, lash lift, brow lamination and nails. They also have a product range that they distribute worldwide. For more information, head over to kgprofessional.com. So in this episode, we are joined with Jenna Pearson. Jenna Pearson owns multiple businesses and she is a mummy. And I love to get mums on the show to see how they deal with work-life balance and that dreaded mum guilt and everything in between. So without further ado, here she is. Jenna, let's start today with some quick bio questions to warm us up. So, coffee or wine?
Wine.
Beach or pool?
Beach.
Summer or winter?
Summer, I think.
Nails or lashes?
Lashes.
In the chair or out the chair?
Out the chair.
Working from home or working from an office?
Working from home.
Facebook or Instagram?
Instagram.
Love that. Welcome to the show, Jenna. How are you?
Yes, I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Good.
So, do you want to do a quick intro, who you are, what you're about?
Yeah, so I'm Jenna Pearson. I am a salon owner. I have a beauty salon in Southampton. I'm also an educator and trainer for KG Professional, and I'm also a mum.
So you are a busy lady.
I am indeed.
So we will get more into that in a little while, but I just wanted to go over kind of your background story, how you got into the world of beauty, because I think it wasn't your kind of first thing that you done. So yeah, tell me a little bit more.
So my background is actually from a corporate background. I've worked in the legal sector I had to count this earlier because I was saying 11, but I realised I'm a bit older now, so it's actually 13 years. So I've always worked in the legal sector and really loved it for the majority of the time that I've been doing it. I got engaged a handful of years ago, I can't even count now, and myself and my now husband, we would spend all of our time working. Every single free hour we had was working. I'd be upstairs, he'd be downstairs. We'd pass like ships in the night. We would work crazy hours. And when I got engaged, I just thought, I want to get engaged. I'm going to get married. I would like to have a family. And my vision then didn't seem so aligned as the life that I was living at that time. I just thought, if I have a family, I can't be doing all of these hours. I can't be this stressed. With all of the hours came a lot of stress and anxiety. And yeah, I just thought, is this really for me? So I sat down with my husband and I said, is this what I want to be doing? I think it gets ingrained in you when you study so hard and you work so hard for qualifications. You feel like that is your bread and butter and that's all you're going to do for the rest of your life. And that's kind of the mindset I was in. And Mitch said to me, what do you like doing? And I thought, oh, what do I like doing? I like beauty treatments, but I've never really done any beauty. I have treatments done. I absolutely love lashes. So he was like, well, how hard is it? I thought, I have no idea. I'll just go for a lash snap every 2 weeks and have my lashes done. So yeah, he was like, well, have a look into it. So one thing led to another. And before I knew it, I had fallen into a rabbit hole about lashes, fell in love with them and put myself on a training course. The idea for me was just to do something kind of to take my mind off my full-time job and just have a little bit of a breakaway from it. I was told that it can be quite relaxing because you just get into the zone. And I thought I could do a bit of this. So I trained in classic lashes and I transformed my spare room into a little beauty salon as much as I could do, pushed my spare bed to one side and I sat up and off I went. So I was doing beauty treatments or lash treatments around my current commitments. I was doing a couple of evenings a week. I got quite busy quite quickly. So then I went on to training in lash lifts and Russian volume. By that point, it was just crazy busy. I was lashing most nights and weekends. And to be honest with you, it got to the point that I couldn't keep my house tidy. And I hated the fact that people would walk up my stairs, through my hallway, round to my spare room, and I had to have my house immaculate all the time. I also had to lock Mitch downstairs in the living room, so he had to stay in there whilst I had clients, and it all just got a bit much. I didn't expect it to take off like it did. So I thought, about 6 months in, I thought it was time to look for somewhere else to work, just so we could have our house back. So I looked around and I found there was a local hairdresser's up the road from me that had a small treatment room to rent. So I went to have a look at it, fell in love with it. It was a shared salon. So one half of the salon was a hairdresser's and the other half was a training academy, but they didn't use it that often. So I was renting a room. So I was pretty much in a very large empty salon. So I rented that and I started working on Saturdays. And fast forwards 9 months, I went from just using that treatment room to being offered the opportunity to have the beauty salon to myself and run it rather than just the treatment room. And then again, fast forward another year, I've now got a full beauty salon out of there with 2 employees and an aesthetics nurse that comes in once a week. And yeah, it's gone from 0 to 100. So it was never my intention, but I've come from a legal background and I've gone full circle to now owning a beauty salon.
Was you scared leaving that job, even though it was loads of hours and it was stressful? That was security, right?
Yeah.
How was that transition?
Really difficult. And because of the current climate with COVID, I had to tie that in with my beauty salon work. So I was actually doing both at the same time until I had Liam and went on maternity leave. So I was juggling a full-time job and working in my salon and then getting employees on board and training them and doing that around my full-time job. And then I fell pregnant as well, which then adds another spanner into the works. But yeah, it was really, really difficult to juggle and manage. But I made it.
Oh, that's so good. Isn't it just so amazing how I really agree the fact that you're in something and you think that's all you see yourself doing. Like, think that's what I'm put on this earth for. That's all I'm going to do. You can't really think outside the box. And it's not until you're kind of made to think outside the box, you think, God, there is so many other opportunities in this world. Like, and if you really are unhappy with what you're doing or you don't feel aligned like you didn't, like, go and search for something that does make you feel like that, because life's too short, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And I think when I look back on my last 15 years from leaving school and going to college, and I spent so much time, effort and money investing in myself in these legal qualifications to be a solicitor. And that was all I thought, that was my path. That was what I was doing, and that was it. I didn't know a life outside of an office job. I didn't know a life where I could attend something at 2:30 on a Wednesday, because I was always at my desk from 9 to 5, plus a couple of hours before or after. I didn't actually know that there was this world outside of a corporate office industry that worked for me better. And I just think there's no harm or fear in changing, but I felt that at the beginning. I thought, there's no way I can ever change my job. I've invested hours and hours on end. I've had my head, when I wasn't working, my head was stuck in law books, and that was my life, and that was how I saw my future. And actually, when I stepped back and looked, did that make me happy? No. Were we living our best life together as a couple? No, because our work was life. Our work-life balance was completely off. And when I looked at my future, how could I bring a baby into this life? Like, I wanted to be a mum. I wanted to be a mum that spent time with my baby, not put the baby in nursery all the time because I had to work. And it really makes you reconsider your priorities. Because work is important and we all need to work to get by, but there are other things out there that can bring you happiness, and also money, because I was always led to believe, you work in law, you're going to make the most amount of money. No. Since I've turned to beauty, the options are endless.
And do you know what's really funny is beauty has always been deemed to, are you going to beauty and hair? It's not where you make the money. It's the downgrade of career, isn't it? That's always been seen to be.
Yeah, definitely. The amount of people that say to me, you've left law for lashes. I was like, yeah, I have. And do you know what? It's been the best thing I've ever done. Um, Working for myself has been amazing. And I've actually realised that you spend so long, or I spent so long lining somebody else's pocket, and the hard work and graft I put into that, why can I not be lining my own? But yeah, you're so right. So many people just couldn't believe it. You're doing what? And I thought, yeah, I am. And I had to be really brave about doing it and really own it and say, yeah, do you know what? I am leaving law for lashes, and that's what I want to do. And yeah, haven't looked back since.
So you've mentioned you had a baby, gorgeous baby Leo.
Yes,
I love him. He's the most smiliest little boy.
he really is. He's so lovely.
How are you finding parenting alongside running a business?
I'm not gonna lie, it's tough. He's now 7 months old, so he's more alert and interactive, and he needs entertaining. Leo has and always will be my priority. So throughout my day, Leo comes first. I make sure that his needs come first over my business because he's the most important thing. It doesn't make it easy. I feel the mum guilt is real sometimes. There have been times where I've had to put Sesame Street on and just let him watch it for half an hour because I've had to get something done on a deadline, which I think is really tough. But I've got to the point now where I've adapted to being a new mum. I should probably not a new mum anymore, am I? I've adapted to my new life, and I feel like I've established a really good working balance around Leo so that he doesn't miss out on me, I don't miss out on him, but also my businesses don't suffer as well.
I think a lot of people think, especially when they're so career focused like we are, you think, oh, I'd love a family, but actually, how can I fit in the family in what I do? But
yeah,
when they do arrive, it does just work, doesn't it?
It really does. And I think, again, that thought crossed my mind when I thought, oh my goodness, I've got a beauty salon, I've got employees, I've got responsibilities, and then I've got a baby. Like, how the hell is this going to work? And I remember vividly, Leo, bless him, was 2 weeks late. He was due at the end of March. He decided to come on the 13th of April, the day that Boris let us reopen our beauty salons. And I just remember being in the hospital thinking, I'm about to have a baby. My salon is about to reopen after being locked down for however long. My team are there. I'm not there. I can't do this. What the hell is going to happen? And of course, it all went absolutely fine. But there were moments that I thought, I can't do this. What am I going to do? Sometimes I think it will hold people back because it is really scary because your life changes so much. But I think you just learn to adapt. I now have mummy and Leo time every day. So I carve out every day some time just for Leo and I. Whether it be going to swimming lessons or messy play or soft play. And I make sure that we have our time together. That just makes me feel like I know I'm putting him first. He gets to spend quality time with me when my phone is turned off and not with me. It also really stimulates him so he gets a really good nap after so I can work. But I find if I carve out my time with him in the day, I feel like we've had bonding time together. And then for the rest of the day, either he's with me or with his dad or with family members, and I can work. But I know that I've devoted time to him. And I feel that that really helps me not feel as guilty. Because you do. Sometimes I think I could just put him in nursery full time and I could work. But then I have to remember that's not why I created this business. I created this business to be present and to work around my family. So yeah, but it is tough.
Yeah. Mum guilt is so real, and all of us mums say that. I mean, I get it all the time, and I feel I'm good like you. I'll carve out time. I'll make sure when I'm not with her, I work constantly, so then I can have half terms, 6 weeks off, and all of that jazz that goes with having a child. And you're so blessed for that. But even though you can carve out them times, you still suffer with mum guilt.
It's horrendous, isn't it? It's awful, and I've got into the routine now where I set an alarm. I get up like an hour and a half before Leo wakes up, so I get my work done. And then when he wakes up, I can just see to him. And then when he goes for naps, I'm back at my laptop or I'm popping to the salon. But even then, you still feel guilty. And I know he's too young to understand. He doesn't know that mum's working. And I do tell him constantly, I'm doing this for our future as a family. Like, this is all for us. I'm not just being ignorant and just sat on my phone and, I'm actually working. Again, he doesn't understand, but I continue to tell him. So hopefully one day he will understand. But yeah, you can't take that mum guilt feeling away. No matter how much you do, even when, for example, he goes to be with my mum for a couple of hours, or she'll have him for a day, so I can have a day of just pure working, because I think the more I can get done, the more time I have with him. I even feel guilty about that. And I know he absolutely loves being with family members, and my mum cherishes every moment she has with him. So actually, it's a pleasure, not a chore. But still, you feel so guilty that you're shipping them off so you can do some work. But I just have to remind myself it's all for the greater good.
Yeah, wait until we start stalking.
I know.
Lola will go to me. She said it once. She said something about me working all of the time. Bear in mind, I spend so much time with that child. I work all the time, and I was like, "Oh, how do you think you get all these wonderful holidays? How do you think you're dressed? How you're dressed?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, you can carry on working then, Mum."
It's so true, and I think it is so good that they grow up knowing that, because there is a reason we're doing this. We're not doing it for fun. We're not doing it because we don't want to spend time with them. We're trying to provide a really nice life for them. And I think sometimes when I get a bit lost in it and I get a bit upset and you think, oh my goodness, I'm working so hard, I feel so guilty, I just have to keep reminding myself that actually that's the reason I'm doing it. It's for my family's future.
Yeah.
And hopefully Leo will appreciate that when he grows up. Definitely. I
hope. He definitely will, and he can listen to this and be like,
yeah,
oh, yeah. So what are your top tips to finding that balance with running a business alongside parenting for them mums out there that are maybe struggling a little bit?
I would say prioritize. I prioritize and carve time out. I've now got to a point where I'm trying to, it's currently a bit of an experiment, but I'm actually trying to set my own working hours. So I can make sure that I work, for example, on a Thursday when he's with my mum, I will work 10 till 5. But on days when I'm with him, I'll do 9:30 till 10:30 because that's his nap time. And I find if I prioritize what I need to do, then I don't get lost and I don't get overwhelmed, because it can be really overwhelming thinking I've got so much on my plate, where do I start? The other thing that I live by, and my husband mocks me all the time for this, because I have a to-do list for everything. I've got a to-do list for a to-do list. I live my life by my to-do list, and it's all sectioned out. So I know my life to-do list, my salon to-do list, my training to-do list, my beauty media company to-do, it has everything on it. So everything is carved out, and I live by it. And I'll sit there every morning. I'll also rewrite it quite a lot, just to make myself feel accomplished. But I'll sit there with my to-do list and I'll be like, right, what do I really need to get done today? A, B, and C. When am I going to do that? And I'll say, right, nap time between A and B, nap time between C and D. And then I'm going to say to my husband, when you finish work at 5 o'clock, can you just keep an eye on him for an hour? And then I'll carve that time out as well. And I feel like if I plan my day, I then don't feel stressed and overwhelmed about, oh my goodness, I've got all of these things to do. When am I going to do them? I know that actually I've got a little break here, a little break there, and that's when I'm going to focus to do it. I think being organised is key. And also my other top tip would be delegate. Delegating is the way forward. I've learned the hard way, because I try and take everything on. And you get to the point that you can't do everything. And actually, if you try to do everything, you can't do it well. So you're better off fielding it out to somebody that can help you or can do it, or find a supplier that can do it for you. I've learned that, for example, social media, I have help with my social media, because I know I can't post every morning before Leo gets up and make it look pretty and follow a strategy. So I outsource that. I've started outsourcing some of my tasks to my girls in the salon when they have got gaps, because I would sit at home with it all on my shoulders thinking, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. And then there's a cancellation at the salon. Why can't the girls do it? And my team at the salon are absolutely fantastic. And I've learned that actually a problem shared is a problem halved. So they kind of enjoy doing other things outside of their treatments. So actually, rather than me sitting at home getting stressed about it, I share it with my team, and my team do it in the salon. And it's just a win-win for everyone. So yeah, just take all the help and support you can get, personal and business as well.
Yeah, definitely. I live by to-do list as well. I mean, it's all in my phone calendar, because if I write it, I'll just misplace it, or I write it down and it hides somewhere.
Yeah.
But if on my phone, I live by that. And if it's not in the
Yeah.
calendar, it don't get done. If it's in the
Yeah.
calendar, it gets done.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty much the same. And yeah, delegation is absolute key. And those that do have teams out there, I just think, you know, if there are quiet times or they've got gaps and there's things that you need doing as a business owner, definitely give it over to your staff. Like you say, they like it. They like doing something else, and they actually like responsibility of something else also.
Yeah, absolutely. And I sometimes feel as well, it's a fresh pair of eyes. If I'm trying to do, say, for example, Instagram stories, and I'm just doing the same repetitive stuff, my girls have got other ideas. They'll come up with something that I haven't even thought of, and vice versa. And I think it's really good to bounce ideas off each other and for everyone to get involved, because although this is my business, it's also their business in as much as it's their job. And I want them to love their job as much as I love providing them with the job and the business. So I feel like if we all get involved, it's really good for motivation, and it just gets the job done, and quicker than me doing it on my own.
Definitely. How often are you in the salon now?
I don't actually do treatments, so I've stepped out of my business completely. I stepped out when I was pregnant, probably about 4 or 5 months, because I had hyperemesis, so I was really sick. So I was really struggling to still do treatments around clients when I was so poorly. So I stepped out and I replaced myself with one of my girls in the salon, who's been incredible. And I haven't actually gone back into lashing since. I do train. I absolutely love training. So I am trying to take more of the training and educating side. But I pop in every now and again. Couple of times a week, I'll pop in just to check on the girls, see how they're doing, can I help with anything. But I generally don't do treatments. I like my team to know that I'm always there. We communicate every day. Every single day I'm in touch with my girls, whether it's by phone or I'm in the salon. But yeah, I pop in and out.
How did you find that transition with, obviously, being a business owner? We're a bit of control freaks. We like things how it's done. You have to let go of that control slightly. Obviously, having a baby forces your hand to do that. Yeah. How did you find just letting go and letting your teams take over?
I found it quite tough at the beginning, again, because I'm a control freak, and you know how you run your ship, don't you? And we like it done our way because that's the way we're used to. And we're probably not very good at accepting change when we're in control of a business. So at the beginning, I really struggled, but it was my own struggles. My team were amazing. And my sister, she's an aesthetics nurse. When I had Leo, she stepped in to help the girls, and it was fine. I don't know what I was worrying about, but you just worry about everything, don't you? And actually, looking back now, I should have done it sooner. I put myself under so much pressure to make sure that I was in charge of everything. And actually, I should have just let the girls take more of that control off me. It was difficult. I think for me, timing was awful because we were in lockdown. So that was obviously difficult to deal with. And then Leo, I was 14 days overdue. So fed up is an understatement. I was just done. And then the salons reopened and it all just came at once. So my hands were forced. And I feel like it was quite difficult because there were so many different variables at that one time, that I was about to have a baby. I was going through having a baby. My salon was reopening. We hadn't been open for a while. I remember I typed out from the hospital a team meeting structure, and I sent it to my sister, and I was like, girls, please can you just sit down and go through this team meeting? And looking back, I don't know why I was so worried, because they were all incredible and they all held the salon up. When I stepped out, it was amazing. And I think I've been able to do more with my salon since I've stepped out. And I've learned from you, you can't work in your salon and on your salon. So for my business to grow, I needed to step out. I needed to step away and put my tweezers down from doing the clients to be able to grow my business. And it's the best thing that I've done.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that so much. In business, what's been your biggest struggle so far, would you say, that you've had to overcome?
Probably with all business owners, I think COVID. I don't think I ever expected it to go on as long as it did. I don't think I ever thought it would be as horrendous as it was. And I never probably sat and looked at the implications of having a beauty salon for a pandemic and how us as business owners have been affected. And I know that the world is going back to normal. I say normal in inverted commas, our new normal. But I don't think a lot of people realise how we are still struggling and we're still suffering. Like, it has had a massive knock-on effect. To ride the waves through a pandemic on a personal level was tough enough. Then to be supporting a team through it, to try and uphold a business and stay afloat in such a difficult financial period where we didn't know from one day to the next whether we were coming or going. The pressure of making sure that I could still make sure my team were okay, on a personal level, but also on a financial level. You know, there's a lot of responsibility as a business owner when you've got a team that we provide for their families. We are the person that helps them pay their bills. We're the person that puts the food on their table, on their plate. When you break it down like that, and for us riding the waves of a pandemic where we didn't know where we were getting any income from, but we still had to provide an income to help people, that was really, really tough. I think. And I think I'm proud that we survived it. I think there are a lot of businesses that didn't. And I know the ones that did survive, we are still working so incredibly hard to rebuild all the damage that was caused by COVID, and it continues to be being caused daily. You know, we're all still struggling. It's really tough out there at the moment, but we made it, didn't we? I think.
I do think as well, like, there's just so much more to come. Like, it has been, okay, we're out of the pandemic as in lockdown, but we're still so very much in it as an industry, and all the salons that have been really struggling to, you know, clients are still coming in, but it ain't like it normally, like what it used to be. Not at all. It's completely changed.
Yeah, and I think I know from speaking to other business owners and local salon owners and people from that I know in the industry, we're having cancellations galore, we're having no shows galore. People don't want to come back to a beauty salon, people don't have the finances, and it's so difficult. And part of me does worry about what the future holds for us, but I feel like we've pivoted our businesses enough to get to where we are now. We're just going to have to continue to keep going and work even harder than we have been the last 18 months.
I do think if salons have got this far, or any business has got this far, then they'll be okay. Just got to hold in there, but just get through this last little bit. And I do really strongly believe that the industry will come back with a boom. It's just going to take that little while the fear mongering and that's still going on, and prices of everything are rising. There's just some things that are going to have to take a cut back, and unfortunately that is going to be beauty to some people. I completely agree, and I just hope that, I do think we'll come back with a bang. I do think we will, and I think we just have to continue to ride the waves and stay positive and not let it affect us too much, because I know it's been the most stressful time for all of us, everybody in fact, and I just think we've just got to hold on. The future is bright. We're going to get there. We've just got to hold on. Definitely. How does things like that affect you, yourself, when it comes to worry with business?
I am a big worrier. I'm quite an anxious person. I suffer with a lot of anxiety, and I think I deal with stress okay, but when it gets really bad, I really struggle. I've learned my own coping mechanisms over the last 18 months to try and remain calm and keep all of my anxiety and stuff at bay. But there is times where it does take over and you get all the feels. on a personal level, on a business level, on an employer level, and it is really, really tough. I turned to podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I read a lot of books. I try and take my mind away from it. And I also find exercising or fresh air really helps me. I'll have some days where something will really stress me out and it'll bubble up inside me, and then I can feel the side effects, like the anxiety side, and it's horrible. And I think, right, I take my dog and we just go, headphones in, and I just walk and walk and walk, and I try and shift my mindset to try and take the focus away from it. I also deal with things quite a lot of time. I'm quite an emotional person, so I have to remove the emotions from my thoughts to try and make a business decision rather than think with my heart. I need to think with my business head. That sometimes is quite hard because that's how I'm wired. I do think with my heart first. And yeah, it is difficult. And I think you just have to find your way of managing it. And what I have learned is there are so many people out there that are so inspirational and talk so much sense. Whether that's on Instagram or a podcast or reading a book, there is so much comfort that you can seek through other people that I probably never looked at before. And it helps me so much just to try and balance things, because it is tough. And ultimately, when you break it down, we're all human. We are all the same. Some of us may be more successful than others. Some of us might be better on Instagram than others, but ultimately, we are all the same people. We all have the same feelings. All of those feelings are also valid. So just because you are a business owner doesn't mean you can't get upset and stressed and anxious. And I think it's accepting that as well, that we are all the same.
Yeah, and I think with business comes anxiety. I mean, everyone knows that I suffer with anxiety quite a lot. But I had a salon owner, actually, it was a new salon owner that come to me, and she was really chilled pre being salon owner. And never suffered with anxiety, and all of a sudden she's like, I've got this feeling, and it was anxiety, and I was like, yeah, you've got it.
Yeah, that's it. Welcome to the club. You're in now.
But it's just finding the ways to like try and distract it or try and keep it at bay as much as possible. And obviously everything that you said 100%. And there was something that I thought about the other day, actually, because anxiety is all about worrying about the future, right? It's not past, it's future. And I can't remember who it was I was listening to, because I find listening to other people or breaking it down with someone really, really helps. It was like, what am I actually worrying about? What is my brain spiraling about? And when you actually break it down, then you're like, okay, is this going to affect me in a couple of hours? If not, just drop it immediately.
Yeah.
Or is this even going to affect me next week? Like, by next week, am I still going to be worrying about this issue that I'm worrying now that's causing me anxiety? Most probably not. And then you're kind of able to let it go a little bit easier. Because
you're so right.
You're like, why am I worrying about this? But sometimes your brain just takes over, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I find that a problem that is so small between me and my mind, I can make it humongous. And it's the worst thing in the whole wide world. And then when I unpick it, actually, it's not a real problem. It's just a worry. But in my mind, I've transformed it into an absolute monster that I'm never going to be able to get past. I don't know how I'm going to deal with this. I don't know how I'm going to cope. And yeah, it's all about your mind. It's crazy the way your mind works. And I think you're right. It is. You just need to understand, or try to understand, and unpick. For me, I think my husband's very good. I'll sit and I'll relay something to him, and he will unpick it for me and say, you're making this bigger in your head, but if you take your emotions out of it, actually we go back to the problem in hand and we can deal with that problem in an instant. But yeah, with anxiety, your mind just goes into overdrive. It's horrible. And I think a lot of people suffer it. More people suffer from it, more people than we know. And I talk about my anxiety openly because it's a daily struggle. It's horrible. And I think a lot of us do struggle with it. And I think we can all seek some comfort in the fact that you're not alone if you suffer from this. So many people do. And we can all come together to support each other and help, because it's not fun and it's not nice.
Yeah, no, thanks for bringing that up, because I know sometimes it's a tough subject to talk about. So
Yeah,
it's good to bring awareness.
yeah, absolutely.
So Jenna, where can people connect with you online if they wish to join you?
So I'm on Instagram. So I have my one account is kgprofessional_Jenna. My other account is my salon account is Glow Beauty Studio Southampton, and my other business that I haven't actually touched on too much that is launching soon is the Beauty Media Company on Instagram too.
Oh, do you want to quickly give us a little download about that?
Yeah, so I have teamed up with a very incredible social media and marketing specialist called Esha, and we are just currently launching something called the Beauty Media Company. So it's social media and marketing training courses, marketing outsource work, logo designs, all sorts of things like that, but specialized for the beauty industry. So if you give us a follow on Instagram, it is going to be launched very, very soon. And if you have any questions, by all means, just get in touch.
Fabulous, that's exciting.
Yes, very exciting. We like to add more to our plates, don't we?
Oh, we do. We sure do.
Never a dull moment.
Well, Jenna, I'll let you get back to your beautiful baby Leo. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing all your words of wisdom. I'm sure it's helped many people.
Lovely. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. If you enjoyed this episode as much as we did, we have just 3 asks from you. If you could subscribe, leave a review and share on social media to spread the word to help other people within this industry. This episode was sponsored by KG Professional.